Now we're both on here. My computer, I'm telling you, is like, this is going to be one of those nights. I'm checking to make sure that we're actually on the page and that I set it up right because I don't trust myself.
What's the weather like where you are?
It got chilly, actually.
You got your hat on.
Yeah, because you know what? I refuse to pay for propane, so my house is cold.
Yeah.
Um, and our house is always colder inside than outside. Okay, so we are on good. Okay. Yeah, so I refuse to pay for propane because I think it's the biggest ripoff. Um, it's like our central heat is propane, and um, it's like $600 a month to heat our house. And
Mm.
whereas if we use space heaters and just use a lot of space heaters, it's like $200 a month. So I think I think propane is just the biggest. That's just me personally. I think it's the biggest ripoff, so I won't pay for it. But the other thing though is because our house is so old, it's also really really drafty. So it's always colder in here than it is outside even. And then I can't
Yeah.
stand to be cold because I hate being cold. So
Just get the blankets out.
exactly. Okay, so we are live now. I have confirmed that. Let me just double check because I never trust myself. Yes, we are live. Okay. Welcome, people. Thank you. Frugal Chicken peeps, Farm Fit Living peeps. We are live on the Frugal Chicken page. This is our first official episode of a Cluckin' Good Time. We had to stick with the chicken theme there. I am Matt Van Eidert. I am the founder of the blog Frugal Chicken, and I am here with my beautiful co-host, Mindy Young of Farm Fit Living, and her assistant. Are you there, Mindy? Did I lose you?
No, I'm here. Stop touching stuff. Let's see. Okay, somehow my trusty assistant, she opened something on my computer. I didn't know what it was.
Okay, we can hear you, but you're frozen, but we can hear you okay. I think you need to fire your assistant.
Assistant, stop touching stuff. Okay? Do you need to go get another cookie?
So she can come back for our chicken segment.
Yeah, she needs to.
Assistant there, her daughter has a very, very important job when it comes to the chickens, and she has to explain it to you because it's so complicated that Mindy and I don't understand it.
Very important job.
The crucial job. Oh, she's come back. So here on a Cluckin' Good Time, it's just me and Mindy hanging out, talking about homesteading, chickens, goats. Mindy is a goat expert. I'm a chicken expert. We're both homesteading experts. So that is what a Cluckin' Good Time is all about. So Mindy, what have you been up to this week? I know you got some pumpkins.
Yeah, we pureed pumpkins this week. Actually, yesterday we did. And currently they are in the fridge, still draining. We like to let them drain.
Nope.
For an hour. And then we pureed the inside away from the skin, pureed all that, and then wrapped it in cheesecloth to get all the moisture out. So that's what they're currently doing, is just working all the moisture out for another day or so. And then I'll pack it up in the freezer and freeze it about a cup at a time, because most recipes call for about a cup of puree. So then it'll be ready for holiday pumpkin cooking.
So organized. Like whenever we get pumpkins, they go to the pigs and to the goats. Like I don't even like mince words about it. But we're also not big pumpkin pie eaters, so it's less of a commodity for that around here. But I didn't realize you had to drain the pumpkin before you used it in the pies and everything.
Yeah, otherwise it'll be really runny. The pies will be a lot more runny, and it'll take them longer to set up.
What did you do with the shells and everything? You said you were going to give them to your goats.
Yeah, the pigs actually got the shells.
I bet they love that. My pigs love anything pumpkin related. Last year was like the year for squash for us. And this year, like we got a few pumpkins, but the we have pigs that run around. Miss Piggy runs around our property. She dug everything up. And I honestly think that somebody sprayed something that killed all the squash because it was doing really, really well. And then like we literally overnight everything just like shriveled up.
Yeah, that could be. My squash didn't do very well this year. I think it was just too hot because they aren't really in an area where they get spray or anything. So, I mean, I know it's
That may have
best,
been
but
probably
I
ours.
keep it watered.
You and I are in the same zone, and that may have been because our pumpkins were in an area where that wasn't easy to get the hose to water them frequently.
Hmm.
So I didn't probably water them as often as I probably should have. Whereas
Hmm.
last year they were right next to the barn, so it was just right on the way to giving the horses water, you know.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So I don't know what happened to the squash. And I got two pumpkins. I know my pumpkins I planted way too early. Like these pumpkins I had that I put up were from my husband's aunt that she had on her place, and she just gave them to me. But the pumpkins that we tried to grow, we actually planted them too early, and we got pumpkins in July.
Oh wow.
So we can't really do much with pumpkins in July, so the pigs got those pumpkins because we were putting
Yeah.
up tomatoes and we were drowning in tomatoes, peppers, all that.
Yeah, we were drowning in tomatoes, and then my pigs got them. So the plan this winter is to kind of like fence off an area for raised beds that are like in a better location than the one I have, the ones I have right now, and then fence it off and so that Miss Piggy and Tinkerbell can't get to them.
Hmm. Yeah, we have our spring garden fenced in, um, so it really helps, I
Yeah,
think.
we have to do that because we also struggled with peas. Like I planted peas 3 times, and my chickens got them, and even like mid like I want to say like August, I created a raised bed and put hardware cloth over it, and they still managed to get in there and get the peas out. So even though I did everything textbook right, they still got the peas.
Hmm, interesting. I think that's why I I had the best pea crop this year, but and we'll get to this in a little bit. Chicken, they have their big coop where they lay their eggs, and then I have a big pen for them. It's all fenced in, but they stay in there in the spring. And but we'll probably talk about that in a little bit, won't we? I
Yeah,
don't
we
want to
will.
give anything away yet.
And I'll
But
tell you all about my mistake getting free-range roosters for meat, and that was something I will never ever do again. I got heritage breed roosters, and there's nothing wrong with heritage breed roosters, but they're very very different than Cornish crosses when it comes to raising them for meat.
yeah.
So that was an experience I don't wish to repeat.
So would you go back to Cornish then?
That's what I would do. We're not raising any
Yeah.
right now because we have a lot of chickens on the property, and I promised my husband I wouldn't get a bunch this fall. The other thing about that
Mm-hmm.
is when you get them this time of year, and a lot of the feed stores sell them because people want to have them. They raise them for 6 weeks and then they butcher them in the cold. The problem with this time of year is you have to either bring them into your house until they're old enough, or find some way to keep them warm until. And that's just a whole, then you got chickens in the house, and the house smells, and then you're like, I got kids in the house too. So we didn't do it this year. We'll do it probably again in the spring.
Yeah, same with us. We normally butcher the Cornish. Actually, right about now is the time we normally butcher, but with the new baby and everything else, and plus we butchered a pig and a steer and 25 chickens last fall. So we still have
Yeah.
plenty of meat in our freezer. So we figured we could get through the winter and then do some Cornish crosses in the spring.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
we're
that's
really
kind of our
lowering our meat
plan.
consumption. We're lowering our meat consumption because I just want to. So I wasn't so concerned about getting meat this fall. And then in probably January we'll take pigs to be butchered, or at least one. So yeah, that's a little bit of news I should tell people. Now that we know exactly what happened, I'll tell everybody what happened.
Yeah.
Last week, yeah, last week, about half an hour before Mindy and I aired last week, our breeding boar, Boris, literally in a span of about 45 minutes, keeled over and died with absolutely no explanation whatsoever of what was going on. And we couldn't talk about it last week because we were stunned. We didn't know what the hell had gone on. We actually consulted a vet on it. We consulted people who know what they're talking about. And based on the symptoms, the decision was that he had a massive heart attack. And there was absolutely nothing we could have done to help him. There was no indication that it would have ever happened. But based on that decision, we then had to make some other decisions, which was, he was our breeding boar, and we had planned to send the two pigs that we have as two of his sons to the butcher because we already had a breeding boar. We didn't need another one. And now we've had to sort of make some other decisions about, well, are we going to keep one or are we not going to keep one? Like, what are we going to do? And then we have our sow, Olivia, who is now mateless. And then, so what are we going to do about that? So there's been a whole series of decisions about that. So I think what I decided is that we're only going to send one to the butcher and then we're going to keep the other one because the reality of it, and if you don't own pigs or if you are thinking about owning pigs and you're not really sure if it's right for you or you're not really sure what to do about it, the reality is that they're very large animals. Boris was probably about 500 or 600 pounds, which probably contributed to, whatever, him possibly having a heart. We know he definitely had a heart attack, but it may have been a contributor to that because he was so big. But it's really, really difficult to keep more than one of them on a property if you don't have a lot of room. We have 10 acres. Having more than one was probably more than I'm comfortable with, simply because of the land required, to make sure they don't get infested with worms and all that sort of stuff. So it made sense that if we had only Boris, that made the most sense for our property and for our situation, because then we could breed again in the spring. But now that we don't have Boris anymore, it makes we have the room for one of his sons to stick around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really important. I mean, like she said, there's a lot of decisions to be made in that kind of predicament, and it's sometimes it's really hard. That's the thing about homesteading or, farming, being out here in general. You never know when you're going to have to make those types of decisions, but it's good to have that. And I'm glad you consulted in your vet and to find out what happened, because that's what you need to do. Is when something like that happens, you need to learn from it so that next time, if it ever happens again, you'll kind of know what's going on and know what to do.
Yeah, and just for the record, in that situation, there was literally nothing we could have done because, like, let's say we had recognized what the issue was. Because at first we were like, okay, is he just sort of screwing around? Did he eat something? I thought maybe he'd eaten something toxic. Was he going to be okay in 45 minutes after he, let's say he ate something that just didn't agree with him? If he took a big poop, was he going to be okay? So like let's say we had already called the vet or whatever. By the time the vet came out, he would have been dead anyways. There was literally it's the same thing as a 45-year-old man having a heart attack, a massive heart attack, and pulmonary embolism, and then dying. There's really nothing you can do about that.
Yeah.
But let's say for the sake of example, he had eaten something toxic. Well, then we could have called the vet, and the vet could have told us what we could have done better. And then, or what we could have on hand next time. And we had everything on hand anyways. But, so I'm echoing what Mindy said in a very stuttered way. Yeah. There are going to be situations where you will be able to learn from the situation and do better. But I mean, that's just part of having animals. There's going to be times when something totally unexpected. I mean, he had never had a health issue in his life. There's no reason to ever think that animal was going to ever have a problem. But You know, that's living with animals, you know?
We've been raising goats for almost 8 years now. And yeah, I'm moving over into the goat side. But it kind of goes along with what we've been talking about. Because we started dealing with something that we had been dealing with all along, but we didn't know what was going on until we actually synchronized our does, which means we used natural hormones to bring them all into heat at the same time, and then we bred them, and then we could know exactly when they were going to kid. So we actually wrote their due dates down on the calendar, and we knew exactly when they were going to kid. So 5 months later, actually less than that, well, we synchronized 3 groups. So the first group kidded beautifully. I mean, all babies were healthy and just beautiful, beautiful babies. The second group started having babies early, about 2 weeks early, and they were very weak kids. It was just one right after the other. They were very weak, undeveloped babies. They would come out gasping for air, which means their lungs weren't developed. And the only thing you can do with that is take them and put them on some kind of a respirator. And you don't really do that with goats. So we had a lot of dead little baby kids. So we consulted in our vet, and then he consulted in the state vet at Kansas State. And they came to the conclusion, without testing anything, a false negative or false positive. So it wasn't really, we would probably be wasting our money. But due to the symptoms of what was going on and the look of the placenta and all that, was that we were dealing with some kind of bacterial infection in our does, which is an STD, basically. They said it's caused, you bought some does, you brought some does in, some breeding stock that had that already, and now your herd was infected. When we did that, I don't know. We didn't find out. And you know, the funny thing is, I know in the past years we had baby kids that were born undeveloped, but we just thought they couldn't breathe because of the weather. You know, it may have been cold that day, but that shouldn't have happened. They should have been just fine. You know, even because even like under heat lamp warm. What we started doing was giving them some pre-medication, the does, before they were to kid. We continued to synchronize them, schedule the breedings, and we've been doing that for the past couple of years, and we haven't had, once we started doing that, we haven't had a single problem since. We've had all baby kids born healthy.
What was the bacterial infection? Was it chlamydia?
Yeah. Yep, yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
So
that's usually, I mean, because I've seen that in humans. I've seen chlamydia in horses, and it it can really make it difficult to get them pregnant on that.
Yeah, and we didn't know, you know, at the time what was going on, but we consulted in the vets, and they helped, and we learned from it, and now we can. We haven't lost any babies by just planning for it. So made a big difference.
That's the thing about animals. There's so much to like know, and you know, there's you know, you have to be sort of prepared with it all. But the other thing about it is that I don't really, you know, we consulted vets on the East Coast that I knew. I don't think we even have a good swine vet here, you know. The vets in our area, I'll just say it, hand to God. I still got my stigmata there from last week. The vets in our area are not the ones I would consult in a case like this. Let's just go with that. So, you gotta, and that's one of the reasons why I do the blog, and one of the reasons I'm sure why you do Farm Fit Living is because the information out there, or you need to have the information out there so people can access it, And we're not vets, obviously. We don't, no one, we didn't go to vet school, but I know that people come to Frugal Chicken specifically because they don't have access to poultry vets. And there's always the people who are like, well, you shouldn't tell people this X, Y, or Z. You shouldn't tell people. You should tell them to go see a poultry vet. I always tell people to go see a poultry vet. But at the end of the day, the closest poultry vet, the closest qualified poultry vet in our area is about 5 hours away. So, I mean, if that's us, what's it going to be like for other people who are in the middle of America where, there's not the same sort of resources that we had on the East Coast.
Vets around here. Nothing like that.
Yeah.
Hey, Sean.
Oh, hey, Sean. Hey, what the cluck? Yeah, we're clucking
up
time tonight. Yeah, but what the cluck? Yeah, it's definitely my podcast. Hi, Sean. Thanks for showing up. But yeah, moving on to a happier topic. What are you going to do for Thanksgiving? Besides, you make pies with your pureed pumpkins.
Yes, I'm making pies. We're going to my parents for Thanksgiving, and we started renting a pasture for our cows there from my grandma. It's just a small pasture that I can take my red Angus heifers out there to graze for the summer, and it needed some new fencing done. So while we're out there at Thanksgiving, we're going to take some supplies with us, and we're going to build that fence. And we're also going to see lots of family.
You skipped out a little bit.
What?
We missed the last part of that. At least I missed the last part of it. What are you going to do at the end?
We're going to see lots of family too.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds like fun.
My family. Yep. About 3 hours away.
I think we're mostly just going to stick around here. I think my husband is going to go to his family's house and go see them. But I think as for food, we're just gonna stick around our house. We don't eat turkey on Thanksgiving. I don't personally like turkey. I like raising turkeys, but I don't like eating turkeys. I don't know how everyone else feels about that. That's just me. So we make chicken.
Sweet. We are also going to be not having turkey. My mom's gonna make steaks on the grill, and then we have everything else with it. Sean loves turkey.
Sean says that he eats turkey. Sean says that they love turkey. Oh, Sean's a better man than I.
Awesome. Eating and raising.
Eating it. Oh yeah, I love raising them. We all know I love raising them. The turkeys make the best yard birds because they're super friendly. Ours was only aggressive with roosters, but that's a rooster. We had way too many roosters, so I think that kind of contributed to it. But yeah, turkey, especially the we had royal palm turkeys, and they're a rarer breed. But we also had another breed. I have to look up what it was. I don't remember off the top of my head. But all of them have just been so friendly.
We have a group of wild turkeys down in our hayfield, but that's about as far as the turkey. We just kind of let them live down there. We've never tried to hunt them or anything. They're just, we hear them in the mornings gobbling, but that's about it.
Yeah, there were a lot of turkeys in Maryland. We have more like hawks here. Maybe there's turkeys somewhere around here. I think Larry's shown me a few pictures of them, but we don't have them hanging around our house. We have hawks hanging around our house. So
yeah.
So I guess you guys are going to eat lots of pie.
Yes, pie, and I love my mom's broccoli rice casserole. That's my favorite dish. Yes, it's my favorite.
My favorite's the cranberry sauce.
Cranberry sauce?
Yeah, I like cranberry sauce. I like making it from scratch. So going off and buying the cranberries, then boiling them and reducing them and putting the oranges in there. I like doing that. It's probably one of the few things I like making. Oh, wait, what is my Thanksgiving story? I think God, was it my sister-in-law? Okay, I remember this. I haven't thought about this story in years. My sister-in-law, the first time she came to Thanksgiving at my parents' house, she didn't realize that corn was something that you served at Thanksgiving. It was just, I get, she's from Utah, and I don't know if it's
Yeah.
a Utah thing or just maybe particularly to her family, but they didn't serve corn. So she was like, why are you guys serving corn at Thanksgiving? And we're from New England, right? So we're from Massachusetts. Like, we're like hardcore Thanksgivingers, you know?
Right.
And I think, yeah. So we're looking at her like, what do you like? What do you mean? Like, why are we serving corn at Thanksgiving? Like, corn is like the thing you serve at Thanksgiving, you know, like historically speaking. So Sean says that he found a cool recipe for vinegar pie. I have actually made vinegar pie, and it is really good. It's like freaky how good vinegar pie is. You wouldn't think it, but it's really, really good.
It's just vinegar. What else is in it?
Sugar, and like you don't really taste the vinegar. The vinegar is more like reduced to like like it just gives like the sugar like a tang. So mostly
Hmm.
mostly kind of like what it tastes like is like custard pie almost, but with like a slight like acidic taste to it. Sean
Hmm.
says it's yummy. I think it's yummy too. I made it last year. And it's actually super simple to make. I'd have to look up the recipe, but because I haven't
I'll have
made
to,
it in like a year.
yeah, I'll have to find a recipe. Sounds
Yeah, if
interesting.
you go on my Instagram account and you scroll down far enough, you'll see a picture of vinegar pie, and it looks like just like a normal pie. So it sounds really really weird, but it tastes really really good.
It's in
Oh,
there. Huh.
maybe it's going in and out. Yeah, you're there. I see you now. Okay, you're there. But yeah, so going back to this corn at Thanksgiving, like my brother and my sister-in-law, they've been married for like ever, like since I was like in my early 20s. And but yes, it was just this funny thing. So now every Thanksgiving, everybody somebody at Thanksgiving mentions how my sister-in-law didn't realize that corn was part of Thanksgiving. And we're looking at it like,
How do you make your corn?
boil it,
How do you cook it?
boil it.
You just boil it? Is it on the ear
Yeah,
still?
I'm really, really plain with my cooking.
Mhm.
I'll boil it and then put some, maybe like I wish I was one of those people that grilled my corn. I think those people are like much better people than I am at cooking, I think. Not in general, just at cooking. But yeah, I wish I could grill my corn, but I don't. I'm too lazy.
We do that in the summertime.
So what do you
Was
do?
the first thing. Well, we make like corn casserole and creamed corn. Those are
Oh
the
wow.
two ways that we, not both of the same meal, but like those are the two corn recipes I've had on Thanksgiving.
How do you make creamed
So,
corn from scratch? I've never done that before.
my mom makes it. I think she makes it in a crock pot and she puts corn and then
Okay.
uh, cream cheese, and I'm not sure what else. I think, but those are the main two ingredients. And then she just slow cooks it, makes it really creamy, and it's pretty good.
So what's your favorite kind of pie?
Oh, I like pumpkin,
Yeah.
but I also like chocolates and apple pie. What
You
about
know, my
you?
husband loves something called butterscotch pie, and I don't know if anybody out there has tried this. Like conceptually, it sounds good, but like in reality, it's like so much sugar that I'm like, and you have to use Jello to make it, like Jello pudding, and I'm like, I'm not saying anything so sure about anything that says Jello pudding on it, you know.
Yeah.
See, Sean's never had corn for Thanksgiving either. Sean, where are you from? Like, I don't know if this is like, I swear to God, like, if he's from New England, I don't know what I'm gonna do because everybody I know in New England has corn, but I don't know. I guess some places don't. Like, they do green bean casserole. He says, I like green bean casserole,
I love green bean casserole.
and Sean agrees with you
Yay,
about
chocolate!
the chocolate pie. Two votes for the chocolate pie. So
Yeah.
Is the chocolate pie like pudding though? Oh, he's in Wyoming. That's why.
Wyoming.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm wondering if anybody
Yeah,
else from
chocolate
like
pie is
Wyoming,
chocolate pudding.
Nevada, Utah. I wonder if it's just like a thing in like the Rocky states. We lost Mindy again.
Oh,
Looks like I'm here by myself. Yay.
am I here?
Oh, you're there now. Okay. I thought I was going to be the only star of What the Cluck for a minute. No, we're on a clucking good time now, Matt. I can't even keep straight what show I'm on.
Am I here now?
Yeah, you're back now. There you go. I can see you
All
dancing.
right. Good.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Well, it's internet, and I told you, like I told Mindy before we started this live stream that the tech gods are not on my side. Sean says if you post a corn recipe, he'll make it. We'll have to find one because I boil my
Well,
corn. I'm not that fancy.
I'll post one on my blog since I've got
Okay.
recipes on there. Do you have recipes on your blog?
Not so much. I'm not the world's best cook, and I just try to keep it like mostly like chicken focused and like livestock focused with some homesteading stuff. I don't think most people want to emulate me when it comes to cooking.
I have how to freeze corn so far. I don't have any corn recipes yet, but I can get one on there for Sean. I can get my
Yeah.
corn casserole recipe on
Yeah,
there
Sean, if you make it, post a photo so we can all see. I want to see what cooking in Wyoming looks like.
for sure.
Yeah. So let's
I'll
talk
try to get
about
that on there this week.
yeah. Cool. Sean says please do. So yeah, do that, and then I'll share it. Like message me on Facebook, and then I'll share it on my page so that people can see it on my page too.
Okay.
I'll just I'll just share it from your page to my page. So let's talk about our chicken flocks because we're going to talk about whether we free range or whether and she's right on time. Your daughter's right behind you. She's right on time. Yes. Yeah, so we're going to talk about free ranging versus keeping them cooped. And Mindy's assistant there has the most complicated job, and she has to tell you what it is because I don't understand it personally.
Okay. Tell everybody what your name is.
My name is Miley.
Miley. And tell everybody what your job is in the mornings. Can you talk? What do you like to do to the chickens?
Let them out of the pen.
She lets them out of their pen every morning so that they can free range.
Yeah.
Does she collect the eggs? Do you collect the eggs?
Do you get the eggs too?
Yeah, I did the egg too.
Yep. She says
Wow.
she does.
You come to work quite young, don't you?
She's a big helper. She's my big helper. But we do keep our chickens pinned up. They have a really large pen that they can run, and they have large coops. We also had sorry about that, it's Elsa singing.
Man, have you seen those commercials on like the TV where it's every 10 minutes they're playing some song from that movie and it's like some doll that they're trying to get us to buy?
No.
I got that song stuck in my head all the time because of that commercial.
But
so you were saying that your chickens are cooped up?
yeah, we have, well, for the majority of the time, we also have, and we mainly did that for protection. We have we have fencing over the top too to protect them from like hawks and eagles and stuff.
Yeah.
And but now we've started letting them out, and to protect them from our garden too is another reason we kept them pinned up. But since we don't have anything in our spring garden right now, which is right next to their coop, we've started letting them out so that they can be in the yard, and they go into the garden and they pick up, like, they eat the dead stuff and fertilize the garden and aerate the soil and all that good stuff. So that's our job every morning, is to go, and then we pin them back up at night so they're protected. I'm an overprotective chicken.
Actually, we had a chicken question. Let me look it up real quick and
Okay.
see, because I put that thing out, and we did have a chicken question. Let me pull it up here. Hold on. Okay, so Lisa asked, should chickens have extra or different food during the cold winter months? She wants to keep them healthy. Now, to answer Lisa's question, let me flip back here. Whether or not they need extra food kind of depends on what you're feeding them, how much you're feeding them, and how cold it is during the winter months. So our weather has been basically normal here. Like when I say normal, I mean like 70 degrees ish. So we have not increased their feed intake. If it's very, very cold where you're at, or when it gets cold, I usually do increase it. To the extent of where I'll almost give them free access to it, simply because during the cold months, I don't want them to lose weight. I don't want them to get malnourished in any way. So to answer Lisa's question, you might have to. What you're going to have to do is you're going to have to watch them, and just if you feel like they need more food, go ahead and give them more food. Don't be too concerned about that. So.
Mm-hmm. Do you give your chickens treats in the wintertime?
Yeah, I do. I just want to read Lisa's question really quick. Then she asked about different food. One thing that I do during winter is that if it's super cold, and by super cold I mean like if it's going to be under freezing at night, I'll give them like cracked corn, because corn has a lot of digestible energy in it, and it can help keep them warm. They'll stay warm anyways, because they'll huddle together and they'll fluff their feathers. But that's something that if you're not usually feeding corn, you can give them corn. Something else you can give them that's good is like peanuts. They have a lot of energy in them. But yeah, Mindy asked if I give my chickens treats. Yeah, what I'll do is I'll probably give them like extra, like mealworms. I'll do the corn. I'll do the suet cakes. So the suet cakes, the coconut oil suet cakes, it has a lot of fat in it. Sunflower seeds also have a lot of fat in it. Again, it's just to help them keep their calorie intake up.
Mm-hmm.
How about you?
We don't really give our chickens treats, but we do give them extra food. I mean, we make sure that they have their complete diet: protein, calcium, vitamins, minerals, all that, and we just buy a complete feed, and that's how we make sure that they have everything that they need, and make sure that they have water.
Yeah, that's sort of the fail-safe solution. Is if you're not sure that your chickens are going to get everything that they need over the winter, just go with a complete feed. And there's a lot of different options at the store. I would go with like a layer feed. If they're not laying, if you don't want them to lay or intend for them to lay, you can go with an all flock feed. It's maybe a little bit cheaper than the layer feed. So it just kind of depends. But just to make things simple on yourself, if you're concerned at all, just go with a commercial feed, and life would just be a lot easier for you guys. McKenna asked a question, which is, what was the essential oil cleaning solution recipe that Frugal Chicken talked about a few weeks ago? What you can do is you can take vinegar and mix it with lemon essential oil, or with wild orange essential oil, and you can make a really, really good cleaner that way. And I actually use it on my sinks, and I use it on my toilet in particular. It does a really good job with that. The lemon essential oil or the orange, they have really powerful cleaning properties to it. So for specific measurements, go with like a cup of vinegar and 5 drops of the lemon essential oil. That's a really good cleaner. How about you,
I need
Mindy?
to clean my poop. I use vinegar. I do use the vinegar. I don't use essential oils, but I use the vinegar, and I don't remember what else I put with it. What else would I put with it? I found the mixture on Pinterest. interest.
With the vinegar, soak orange peels in it.
And orange pills. I could do that. I don't think I
made the
did that,
mistake
but
of
I can do
drinking
that.
once, and that was a big mistake. I soaked it for like 3 weeks and then drank it because I was like to my husband, I'm like, look, I can drink it, and it like burnt my throat, which tells you that because obviously vinegar is not going to burn your throat by itself. So it tells you that it's pretty powerful, the essential oils that are in the orange peels themselves. But if you don't want to soak lemons, or you want to make things simple on yourself, or you want even more concentrated power, then that's where the essential oils come in.
Yeah. Okay.
That was
Yeah,
my brightest moment.
I do need to clean my coop for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, go with that. So Sean asked, it gets negative 35 to 40 degrees at times. Anything you can do to keep them safer? Sean's situation is the one time I will say, if you want to use a heat lamp, you can. And you also have to take into consideration the temperature in the coop versus outside the coop. It might not be that cold in the coop, but at negative 35 to negative 40, if you are comfortable using a heat lamp, or if you have a way to give them heat that doesn't involve the heat lamp, that would probably be the one situation where I might recommend it, just to make it warmer in there. If there's any windows, basically find a way to cover them up, tarp them up, something to keep the drafts at a minimum. And then he asked, he has a flock of 12 and one is getting picked on. Should he consider losing the one that was picked on, or the two picking? He's considering losing the 2 older girls that are picking because they no longer lay, but this is Dorking is really a wimp. Okay. You're welcome, Sean. You have a couple options there. You can get rid of the 2 older ones if you want to. If that's a solution that would work for you, you can do that. Another thing you could do is, if you have the ability, simply separate. So take the one that's getting picked on and put it with another 1 or 2 chickens, other hens, so that they can, have a buddy. And that's one way to sort of get around that issue. Or you can separate out the 2 older girls that are picking on them and let them have their own, house somewhere else. If you don't really want to get rid of either group. But sort of the easiest solution to that is to take the one that's getting picked on, give her a buddy, and put them in a separate enclosure. And that way, the one chicken's not by itself and it has a buddy, but it's also not getting picked on by the other ones. Or a simpler way to solve your problem is to simply remove the 2 that are doing the picking, and put them somewhere else. Put them on a different place of your property. When our chickens get too old and they don't lay anymore, we put them on bug duty. Because obviously we have a lot of animals, we have a lot of livestock. So we have a lot of flies. So the chickens actually do help keep the bug population down. Oh, you ordered the xylophone? Hey, Mindy, did you see that video on my blog of the chickens with the xylophone?
Yes, I did.
The chicken, he got a xylophone.
They were
So
playing the xylophone.
Get one of them. We're all going to be putting xylophones in our coops this winter.
Oh yeah, they need something to do while they're inside.
Yeah. Sean, make sure you take a video of that and send it to us. I want to see that. But what do you think about the Sean's chicken situation, Mindy? What do you think you should do?
The picking. Well, I was wondering, is it could it be a nutrient deficiency of some sort? What do you feed your chickens, Sean?
Fair question.
I just know I've had the question before, and it had to do with them not getting like enough protein. But if it's just a case where, I mean, if they are getting everything they need, then I would say that you just got some bullies.
Bullies, you got that.
And to
right.
do what? Yeah.
Yeah. So my rooster story is that last year about this time, I want to say like it was October. So here in October, it's pretty hot. So it's okay to order chicks. I ordered, because I had customers who wanted heritage breed chickens. I ordered 100 roosters. And he said they're getting organic grains. So they're probably getting enough protein. So
Yeah,
it's probably an
I
issue of
see.
bullying. So,
Hmm.
if you want to get rid of those two, if that would work best for you, then that would be a way to solve it. Um,
Hmm.
so, but yeah, so I ordered 100 heritage breed meat roosters, and we sold off a bunch of them. We got our money back and everything. But we had a bunch of them running around the property for like up until probably like let me think August. We had probably like 30 roosters running around our property. You want to talk about bullying? I mean, that was like that was just like insanity. I didn't know quite what to make of it. Um, but yeah, so what we ended up having to do was the idea was that we would pasture raise them. They would be organic, and then people love that. But we had here's the thing about heritage roosters: they don't grow very fast. And Mindy knows what I'm talking about. They take like 7 or 8 months to get to harvest weight. And so, but
Hmm.
in the meantime, you got a bunch of them running around, trying to mate with everybody and, picking on each other. And so we ended up having to separate all of our hens and let the roosters run free on the property because the hens were just getting bullied constantly. It was insane. I would never ever ever do that again. I would only do Cornish crosses.
Hmm. I like the Cornish. It's so
Yeah.
quick.
It's quick and it's I don't know. I think it's more worth the time that it takes and the energy that it takes to raise them because the heritage roosters, and, if somebody wants to raise heritage roosters, more power to them. Like I cannot fault anybody for that, and we need people in the world that do that. But the
Yes.
heritage roosters take so long, 8 months to get to harvest weight, and then they don't have the same amount of meat on them as the closest heritage breed that I would raise are Jersey Giants because they get very big. They were actually bred and produced to replace turkeys.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. Cool.
Yeah. So what are you prefer to raise the Cornish crosses too?
Yep, I
Yeah.
do. Yep, because I like to feed them for 7 to 8 weeks and then be done with them. No more.
That's my
I like
feeling
my
on it. Yeah, that's my
yeah.
feeling on it. And then I know for like me emotionally, it's easier to let them go because you're
Mhm.
once I mean, we had a Cornish cross that I didn't have the heart to butcher, and she was like 30 freaking pounds. I mean, her name was Cindy, and she laid an egg nearly every day, a nice white egg, and just hung out, did her thing, never caused any problems. But she was like 30 pounds. She was so big, and we had another rooster who was a Cornish cross also, and he passed out one day in the middle of summer and had a heart attack because Cornish crosses can't really handle southern summers.
Right. Mhm.
So that's the other
Yep.
reason why I recommend Cornishes. Yeah, Sean says that they're a little bit ugly and they're easy to lose in 8 weeks, and I have to kind of agree with that. Sean's
Yeah,
right on
that
the
I
same
always
wavelength.
yep, I always try to get mine 7 to 8 weeks, between 7 and 8.
Yeah.
Just to make sure.
But yeah, so we keep our chickens mostly cooped. We keep our hens cooped. We have older ones that, like I said, aren't laying anymore, and they do go on bug patrol. And we did notice a huge reduction when we started doing that. Because what they do is they dig through the manure. The other thing that helps with bug control are actually pigs, because pigs are really good at digging through manure. We have a couple of free range pigs on the property, and I've noticed that the manure hanging around our property is a lot less.
Mhm. Yeah. Pigs do awesome work. Um
Yeah.
just on like when over the winter, like where we feed hay and stuff, it just seems to pile up, all the hay, the manure, all that. But when we put pigs in those pens, they just level everything out, and
Yeah.
it's just so awesome. Pigs do good work.
Yeah, they really do. So obviously we have horses on our property, and the pigs do a really good job of every day leveling the manure and spreading it. And we have one pasture that has 2 mares in it, and we're probably going to turn that pasture into like a garden kind of thing, a garden. And the pigs have been doing a really good job of just spreading the manure around. Like you go out there, you don't even see manure anymore.
Yeah. Pretty awesome.
So excuse me. So we mostly coop our hens. We need to redo some of our coops. Because we have pigs around on our property, free range pigs, they kind of got into some of them over the summer, so we have to redo some of our coops before the cold weather gets here.
How many hens do you have in one coop?
Depends on the coop. We have 1, 2, 3 coops. We have 3 coops. The one coop. Well, let's just talk about the one coop over there. The one coop over there, there's like 7 hens in it, and it's like 30 feet by 10 feet, I think. So it's pretty big. It's basically just a big enclosed area with a tent over it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping to buy some smaller coops this winter. So Wanda says she really believes she's overfeeding her chickens. They get scratch protein corn, and then all my leftovers. Plus the store gives me slop for them from when she composts. The feed is like 2 coffee. I lost this. Hold on.
Uh-oh. What happened? Oh, there we go.
She asks if she's overfeeding them and she has 10 chickens. It's kind of hard to overfeed chickens because they're just going to stop when they're not hungry anymore. But it sounds like you are giving them a lot of food. It's hard to really say without knowing how much of each you're giving them. But that looks like it's a lot of food. But it looks like they're getting fed really well, and that's sort of the bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
Sean asks if we both. I don't think Mindy has a podcast yet, Sean. You're working on one though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am. It's gonna be for rural women, but you can still listen. It's gonna be called Rural Women Inspired,
and it's gonna be like to help women who are in rural areas, with business decisions, right?
Yeah, mainly just inspiration for rural living. It's gonna, basically what I want it to be is rural women telling their own story. So the stories are gonna be, pretty wide based, the topics, but it's all gonna be centered around inspiring rural women to try new things, start businesses, do their own thing, that kind of thing. Try new things, don't get discouraged. So
sounds like it's gonna be really cool.
I'm excited. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. So the easiest thing to do, though, if you're kind of stuck with moving forward with it, the easiest thing to do is to set up an editorial calendar. That's what I did with What the Cluck for next year, because I found that I'm so busy that if I have a editorial calendar, I know exactly what I'm gonna talk about, like we did with this show. I know exactly what I'm gonna talk about. It's like a lot simpler.
Yeah. I've been trying to decide who to have for my first several podcast people. I should ask you. You should be on my podcast.
I'll be on your podcast. I will.
Definitely. Oh yeah, definitely. I was planning to, by the way, for sure. But
Did we lose Mindy again?
You see me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
I see you. You're doing what you talk with my hand.
So yeah. My first guest. Yes or guest?
Well, your first podcast should be you just talking and introducing yourself and about what the podcast is about. Yeah. And then after that, worry about guests. But yeah, so what I did with What the Cluck is I'm going to have several people on as interviewees. I just asked them now if they wanted to do it for next year, like I did with you, because Mindy's going to be on next year. and it just kind of makes it simpler, you know.
Yes. Yep. And that's what I guess. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. I had found a lady that that has a blog about, and she interviews rural women farmers, and all that. She's in the East Coast. Her name is Lisa Metzger, and so I contacted her because I thought her story was really cool. You know, all the stories that she writes are really neat. And she emailed me back and she said, I'd love to be on your podcast, but I'm really not a rural woman. I just interview them. I really live in the city.
Oh. Well, I mean, there's still something there because she, you know, can tell the thing that inspired her to, you know, start her podcast and
do
stuff.
that. Yeah, for sure. So I'm trying to figure out a way that, you know, to put that in there to go with along with the questions kind of thing. So
Yeah.
still trying to piece it together.
Yeah. I finally, like, after what, over a year of doing What the Cluck or something, I finally got a more professional microphone. And this woman I'm friends with, who's like her job is to teach people how to like do podcasts and stuff. She's like, "What do you mean you haven't been using like a real microphone?" And I'm like, you know, I mean, I told her, you know, I got the idea for What the Cluck in a Dollar General parking lot, and I was just like, you know, I said, I'm gonna start a podcast and I'm gonna call it What the Cluck, and it never like occurred to me to like go off and get real equipment for it. And then, you know, the whole thing just took off, and so I finally bought like a better microphone, and I got like a thing. I can't see my hand, but I got a thing that holds my microphone up. Because if you ever listen to my podcast, you always hear the cracking in the background. It's this table in my
Yeah.
you guys. I record What the Cluck in my bathroom, believe it or not, and this is actually in my bathroom too. You can't tell, but the table in my bathroom is an old table that my husband built, and the whole thing cracks. And you know, you always hear this cracking in the podcast. And so I bought this like arm thing that the microphone goes on, so that nobody has to hear that cracking anymore.
Huh. It's just a little thing that makes a huge difference, right?
Yeah, well, she told me the mic that I bought a Blue Yeti, and she told me that the mic I bought is going to increase the warmth and increase sort of the, like, make it sound like I'm more in the room with the person than I do right now, and hopefully it reduces some of the humming in the background.
Yeah. Yeah, Sean asked permaculture women, and I say yes. If it's a woman that lives rural or has been living rural, and she has a story to tell, I'll probably be approaching her to be on my podcast. For
Sounds
sure.
good. Well, guys, we are at the end of our first official Cluckin' Good Time episode. We made it, Minnie. We made it through the entire episode without any major tech issues, which to me is a small miracle.
Awesome. I disappeared for a minute.
Yeah. Well, you know, who knows what tech. We're going to have the episode one day where one of us gets lost, and hopefully it's not me, because I'm the one who actually controls the board and everything. But we're gonna have one of those days. You know, we actually just switched our internet, so now we're bouncing off of cell phone towers instead of satellite. So maybe like next time, because like whenever there's a storm, we lose our internet. So you know, well, anyways, we made it through the first episode. I can't even see my finger. We made it through the first episode without any major tech issues. Virtual high five, Mindy.
Woo!
Woo! Okay, good. All right, guys, we are going to
hands.
go now because we have to put our kids to bed. But thank you for hanging out. I want to ask, what is a podcast? A podcast is kind of like a radio show. I'll go ahead and I'll link you to my blog, or to my podcast, What the Cluck, on the page so that you can go ahead and listen to it, Wanda. So guys, we're going to go because we got to go put our kids to bed. But thank you so much for hanging out with us. If you have any questions about chickens, goats, or homesteading, leave them and we'll go ahead and answer them next week. We will be back next Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, which is the time zone that Mindy and I are in. And we will go ahead and see you guys then for the second episode of A Cluckin' Good Time. Thanks, guys. There you go. All right, bye.
Bye.
If this thing will ever let me, there we go. Ugh, hold on.